One of the things I wanted to cover today, in case you missed the story about a week and a half ago, we went after the Connecticut Department of Economic Development because as our state's in fiscal crisis, they created a position entitled the Director of Culture, which I don't know what that is, but the job itself was $140,000 a year. Now, with all of this pressure and scrutiny, you think the DECD would say, you know what, maybe we shouldn't be moving these political patronage jobs to permanent jobs that that they go from political appointees to permanent CBAC protected, union protected employees. Well, last week, and thanks to the CT News Junkie, which did a tremendous job on covering the story, Commissioner Smith decided to create a new position called the Community Development Assistant Administrator at $120,000 a year, which is specifically there to help supporting film, TV, media, and international outreach. So as we sit here today looking at higher taxes, higher gas tax, potentially tolls, massive deficits, unfunded liability within our pension funds, the state of Connecticut, its commissioners, our governor, is dedicated to moving political patronage jobs to full-time positions. So, I mean, this is exactly what's wrong. This is a let them eat cake moment. I talked about it 2 weeks ago. I'm encouraging anyone listening to call Commissioner Smith at 1-860-500-2300 and tell them the pressure that we are on as citizens to have to pay for these ridiculous jobs that we don't need them right now. We have vacancies in the Department of Family Services. I mean, there's so many things that we need in this state. The Director of Culture is not one of them. So, you know, I want to highlight that fact, but I also want you to understand that you need to reach out to your local senators and your local state reps. They need to be putting their sand in the line in the sand. They need to be calling this commissioner and say what an embarrassment it is as they're looking at this massive catastrophe of a state budget. They're looking at higher taxes, and our legislators are just kind of not saying anything. I'm calling out. I mean, I have to give Joe Rasimowicz, he did kind of jump in and say that he was against this. But at the end of the day, they need to hear from Kathy Austin, a wildly powerful senator. They need to hear from other state reps and state senators. You need to pressure your local state reps and state senators to call Commissioner Smith, to call Dan Malloy and say this is exactly what's wrong with our state government. We are massively in debt. We have companies fleeing left and right. But don't worry, guys. We got someone to handle TV, media, and Director of Culture. Don't worry. You know, it's safe. So I strongly encourage anyone out there to reach out to your local reps. Tell them to get involved with this. This is exactly what's wrong with the state of Connecticut. And I want to thank you for your time for listening. And look, what we understand is we're fighting for the survival of this state. And it's going to take your activism. It's going to take your investment, whether it's time, whether it's money. And these are those moments that we have to engage and we have to demand a stop to this insanity. As always, this is J.R. Romano, Chairman of the Connecticut Republican Party. I'm glad you tuned in. In order to change what's happening in Connecticut, we have to change who we send to Hartford.